Hello, welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe. This is the news. We're at the studio, so that means it is live. So get your thoughts in the comments. Man United won last night. That's good, isn't it? We're also going to be talking about Paul Pogba as an update on his future from Fabrizio Romano, and we'll be talking about Ronald Araujo as well, Barcelona centre-back who has been linked with Manchester United in recent hours. We'll be getting through all of that. Like I said, get your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start with last night. It's not often these days do we get to reflect on what was an evening of success for Manchester United. Yes, the first half performance wasn't great. Yes, it was only 2 goals. Yes, it took Brighton being, basically a red card for them to stop dominating us. But Manchester United won, and as Manchester United fans, that's what we're all here for. That's what we're here for, isn't it, Callum?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. He's not even a United fan, and he's still here for that. So let's get into some of the quotes from last night, in case you haven't seen them. Ralph Rangnick talking after the game, saying first half was Mr. Hyde, second half Dr. Jekyll, and for a change, the result was different. In the end, it was important to get the 3 points against an informed team. Brighton are very possession-based, full of confidence, and we had to take more risks in the second half. It paid off. We scored the goal and got the red card. I like how he said we got the red card. Like that was one of the tactics. So today, we're going to go out there. We're going to score goals. We're going to not concede any. We're going to get some bloody red cards, lads. We've got the red card for Lewis Dunk with a brilliant interception from Anthony Elanga. It should have been 3-4-0 after 75 minutes, but there is a bit of a lack of assuredness in front of goal. Now, that lack of assuredness in front of goal, I think, put the dampener on what was probably Ronaldo's best performance for Manchester United in the last couple of months. Certainly, I would say since Solskjaer left, I think that was his best performance. He should have got 2 more goals. He had the header at the back post. He also had, the header right in front of the goal that he put, a yard wide when he was basically 2 yards out. He also could have got an assist or 2 as well, playing the ball into Bruno for that basically one-on-one chance with the goalkeeper from 7 yards out that Bruno hit straight at the goalkeeper, or, at a comfortable height for the goalkeeper anyway. It could have easily been a 2-goal, 2-assist night for Cristiano Ronaldo, but it's good that his work and stuff is paying off a little bit, because that's been one of the big things this season. Is Ronaldo negatively affecting this team? Is Ronaldo, not doing as much as we thought? I thought last night was probably his best performance in a while, and certainly his most, productive in front of goal. I know he didn't actually get the goals and assists. Well, there's a lot of games he seems to play for United where, even if he'd have scored every time he touched the ball, he still would have only got 2 goals. Whereas last night he could have comfortably got a hat-trick and also could have maybe deserved an assist or 2 as well. But it's very important that United got that win yesterday. And again, Rangnick talking about the second half, he said, in the first 10 minutes of the second half, we had more success moments and it raised the crowd. They were not moaning and they get behind the team. I can understand if it feels like Brighton have 60% possession. That's not what they want to see. And that's the thing with Brighton. They do have, Steve was mentioning it last night, if anyone didn't see the review I did with him, they are generally behind City, Chelsea, maybe Liverpool as well. It tends to be Brighton in a lot of weirdly sort of important metrics. They have a lot of possession. They create a lot of chances. Their XG and all that, we see that all the time with them, is something that they're always doing very well on. They're a very good team. And if it weren't for the fact that, maybe the players aren't quite there, they have all the setup, all the ideas, all the work rate of a team that is challenging for top 4. They just don't have the squad to do that. So, yes, it's disappointing that we're seeing Brighton dominate at Old Trafford, and they did do that. Certainly in terms of possession, I can understand, like Ralph Rangnick says there, they're an informed team, that their game is to have a lot of possession. They didn't create too many chances with it, and we need to take the positives from this game because there haven't been that many positives from the last few weeks. Moving on then, let's talk about Paul Pogba. And I'm sad, actually. I'll be honest, I'm sad now because I'd given up on Paul Pogba. I decided we didn't need him. He's been out for 3 months. Yes, the results haven't been great, but we're still in that top 4 fight. All this, all that. Fred's looking pretty good under Rangnick. Matic maybe could come back in. And then you see Paul Pogba come back in, waltz back into the team like he does, and has been by far our best midfielder, I think, since he's come back. And he came on again last night, a little cameo from him, 35 minutes or so. And I was looking at the highlights and obviously watching it live as well. You see just how good he is. And you see just how much we need, whether it's him or someone else, a player of that calibre. And this is where we get Fabrizio Romano talking about Paul Pogba's new contract. He said, Paul Pogba is not in any rush to decide his future, nothing agreed with any club yet, and no final decision communicated to Manchester United after the contract proposal made last July. Pogba will take his time. Current Manchester United deal runs out in June. No option to extend. Now, in terms of staying at Manchester United, I think the sound-minded among us can infer that that probably isn't going to happen. However, like he says here, no deal is done, no final decision is made on whether he wants to stay or leave, and Manchester United have made a contract proposal. The thing that worries me is that contract proposal has been on the table since July. Now, if we're thinking negatively, that means, well, he's seen it, he's had 8 months to look at it, and he don't fancy it. If you're thinking positively, you think maybe he's biding his time, he's seen what he can get elsewhere, and maybe United will be the best offer on the table. Personally, I don't want a player that is just, whatever the most money he can get is, he'll take. I don't want him to go round to PSG, go to Juve, go to Real Madrid and say, can you beat this offer from Man United? And if you can't, I'll stay there. I'd like to think he's got more sort of class and a bit more loyalty to him than just going, well, I'll keep that Man United offer there. That never runs out. That never has an expiry date. And if I can't beat it, I'll take it. Because, either you want to play for Manchester United or you don't. And I think Rangnick inferred that and suggested that. He didn't even infer that. He said that. He said if there's a player that doesn't want to play for Manchester United, they can leave. And hopefully we stick with that with Paul Pogba. The dream scenario would be... I don't even know what the dream scenario would be. That's the problem with this whole situation. Do we even want him to stay? Because when he plays how he does yesterday and how he has since he's come back from injury, you think there's very few players that can do those things. In my life, I've only seen a handful of players with his set of characteristics. His height, his strength, his ability in the air, his control, his touch, his long-range shooting ability, his long-range passing ability. It's very rare that you see someone who's 6'3" that has got the control and the turn and the twist that he's got. And the drive and the he's got everything, but he's injured too often and he's inconsistent. It's very difficult to replace Paul Pogba, but at the same time, you just think, how often do we get the best out of him? And that's the worry again. The update there from Fabrizio Romano. He's still undecided on his future. He hasn't made any pre-contract agreements with anyone, despite the rumours over the last few days that he'd made one with, I believe, PSG was the rumour. That hasn't happened, according to Fabrizio Romano, and he's still waiting to decide, or he's still deciding on his future after Manchester United's contract proposal in July. So he's read it. We can assume that he's read it. I don't think that's left unread in his email box somewhere. I don't know what the health status of Mino Raiola is currently. I know it wasn't particularly good a few weeks ago, but presumably, even with all that involved, he's probably read that contract, hasn't he? Gunshi says, have you considered that maybe he's waiting to see how things develop with United and Ralph before he decides on his future? Maybe he is. And that's what I was saying before. Maybe he's waiting to see not just the offer, obviously, but also what the situation with Manchester United is. Do we get top four? Do we know who the successor to Ralph Rangnick is before the end of the season? Hopefully that sort of thing could be announced. Maybe, let's say it's Ten Hag. Maybe, let's say they get knocked out of the Champions League. They get their league wrapped up by the middle of April. Maybe we can announce Ten Hag before the end of the season. Something like that. And then the players can go, right, here's who we've got. Or let's say PSG get knocked out of the Champions League. Poch has the French league wrapped up by the middle of April. Maybe we could announce him before the end of the season. And these sorts of players who are on the end of their contract, the likes of Cavani, the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Paul Pogba, can have a look. I know Ronaldo's contract isn't ending, but the rumour is if we don't get top four, the right manager who wants to leave, maybe they can see a bit of stability at the club for once and decide, actually, I'm going to give this another go. If you were Pogba, would you want to play for this lacklustre Manchester United team anymore? He wants to win things. I would, because I'm a Manchester United fan. And I would rather play for Man United, fighting for top four. And let's be honest, we're still in the Champions League. We are slightly lacklustre, yes, but we're not the worst team in the world. And if it's up to me, I'd play for Manchester United as long as they'd have me. But obviously, I'm not Paul Pogba, and presumably he's not a Manchester United fan. So we'll see. Dan French says Cavani needs to go. Aidan Lee, sorry if I got your name wrong there, says, Poch, if we end up with Poch, I'll give up. Well, that seems to be the rumours of who Manchester United want, doesn't it? The name that won't go away is Maurizio Pochettino. Asim says Pogba has done nothing after the first two games in the season, goes on holiday due to injury thereafter, and now blackmailing the club to give him a king's ransom. Better get rid. Asim is not happy with Paul Pogba. And you know what? I can understand it. I do understand why. He's someone that has sort of flattered to deceive a little bit in his time at Manchester United, and I think he's... I think his time probably is up, but as it stands, there is no concrete agreement with any club, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Let's move on then to a potential transfer in, and this is Barcelona's Ronald Araujo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Araujo, potentially. This is coming from Marca in Spain, and they are saying Ronald Araujo's contract renewal has become a priority for Barcelona, with Jordi Cruyff insisting that the closure of the winter window means that the club will now look to extending the deals of players on their books. Having shown in the last 2 years that he's a promising defender with a big future ahead of him, Araujo has attracted attention from the Premier League. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City are curious, but Manchester United are the most interested in his services. The Old Trafford outfit, that's Man United, in case you wondered what that meant, are willing to make a big offer for the defender, who is yet to agree a new deal at Barcelona. His current contract expires on June the 30th, 2023. So he's got, at the end of the season, he'll have 1 year left on his contract, which means obviously his fee will be massively diminished if United were to sign him. Talks to extend the Uruguayan's contract began before the pandemic, but things stalled due to financial complications that were accelerated by COVID-19 spread. Bit of positive Barcelona spin there. Yeah, the reason Barca are struggling isn't because we've been mismanaged and mishandled for the last decade. It's because of the COVID situation, which, obviously isn't helping anyone, but, that's why things are bad there. So they, you think we've been in the contract negotiations with Pogba for a long time. They've been trying to get this guy to sign a contract for 2 years, and they can't. He's a 22-year-old Uruguayan international, made 7 caps for the national team. Seems to be a very promising up-and-coming young player, and Manchester United are keen now again. Other than the fact that Marca are reporting on him, I don't know how much validity there is to this story. Presumably, again, as we always say, he's on a list. Manchester United have dozens of lists with dozens of and hundreds of names on them. 400 odd right backs. We know the story by now. He is probably on a list of centre backs. If he becomes available for a good fee, Manchester United would try to sign him. That is the latest with Ronald Araujo. He hasn't signed a deal at Barcelona yet. They might not have the money to keep him. Manchester United are interested in him. Let's monitor that one. That'll probably be one for the summer, obviously, if it does happen. I'm sure they're going to try to get a deal with him. He is a centre back, and Henry Cisneros says, "Is he a centre back?" Yes, he is. Young 22-year-old Uruguayan international centre-back. Dan United 94 says, I would have gone with Ronald Araujo. At least he would have brought the Barca style of play and attacking football to this club. I don't know if that's a hint towards an Andy Tate video of the past, or if you actually think a centre-back will bring an entire style of play to Manchester United. Either way, it's wishful thinking, I think. He's like Gavi for Barca. Xavi won't let him leave. Well, I don't know if it's absolutely up to Xavi, the financial situation at Barcelona. It's just one to keep an eye on. Like I said before, he's a good player who Manchester United do seem to be interested in. Dennis Ross, on the other hand, says, don't rate Araujo very much. Right-footed centre-back who looks lost if he doesn't play on the right, like Maguire. And Dan United says it was an Andy Tate quote, mate. Yeah, I thought it might be. 200 games he's missed, apparently. I don't know who that is. Probably Paul Pogba. Pogba is not worth the money he's been offered, and he needs to go. Very interesting. Noah says Rashford should go on loan when he had the chance instead, and we should have kept Martial. I don't think this needs to be a Rashford v Martial debate. Martial scored about 4 goals for Manchester United in the last 2 years, and Rashford, whilst in terrible form, is clearly the man to keep of the two. I think Rashford scored more goals for United this season than Martial did last season, and Rashford has been terrible, and we're only halfway through the season. So I don't think it needs to be a one versus the other. I think it was right for Martial to leave, and Rashford is in terrible form at the minute. Those two things, don't need to be sort of fought against each other. Right. That's going to be all from me this morning. We'll be back this afternoon with a top 5 central defensive midfield targets that Manchester United should go after this summer. We all know we need a defensive midfielder. We all know Paul Pogba is likely to leave the club, so we'll be back with that. So make sure you check that out. If you aren't subscribed already, click the subscribe button and click the little bell as well. Click, there you go. And then you get notified every time we go live, every time we upload a new video, and it helps out the channel as well. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. We'll see you in a bit.